Couple of questions about the workers' comp changes. How much savings is projected to employers off their premium, if we know that? And secondly, are there some proposed new payment schedules for workers' comp that are out there? If so, where could we look at those? And then is there still discussion ongoing about the benefits for loss of life or limb? If that discussion's still up.
We haven't passed one in the House yet, so I'll defer to the Senate.
I can discuss what has happened
right
on the Senate side. Right now, the projection is a 14% decrease in premiums to start out with. And if you look at the Arkansas model, they have had a decrease or they have stayed flat for the last 20 years since they implemented this. So they have not seen an increase at all over the last 20 years since they switched to an administrative system. And I will say this too, in Arkansas they did it, it was the Democrats who did this. So this isn't a Republican thing, this isn't a Democrat thing, this is just a good thing that will be beneficial for all businesses and all people here in the state of Oklahoma. So it is not a partisan issue, this is something that needs to be addressed here in the state of Oklahoma. Regarding the benefit payouts, yes, those were lowered. In most, I believe all the cases, they were lowered. But if you look at what was given in judgment in the past, very few of them actually attained the highest cap. So the cap has been lowered, but very few of the payouts actually reach the highest potential of the cap. So the potential is still there for people to receive the same amount of money they received in the past. We'll just have some more savings in other regards as well.
Okay. Anything else?
Summary, and I do want to emphasize if I can just, as to they call it a scheduled member on the loss of what we've seen in the past. What you're probably going to see is a reduction in payouts. Number of weeks is what they call it. They calculate it using a number of weeks on our unscheduled injuries. That means those that aren't, a limb or something that's specifically enumerated. What we've got, and again, I have to commend you, Senator Arden, you've done a good job of explaining, the core, some of the core changes. We chase a check. The indemnity is really what nails us hard, and it also hurts the worker because if they stay off a long time, it's not as likely they're going to be able to, or maybe want to come back, or they might decide they want to just go ahead and file for SSD, and it strains the relationship with the employer. There's a lot of bad things that come from a person staying off for 6 months or a year. And right now they're kind of incentivized to drag the process out because the benefits are high, and there's an incentive to push that benefit and the rating up. And so that even though some folks are making hay and saying you're cutting benefits, the truth is it's one of the levers we really need to use. In my view, in fact, I've actually had some great talks with Mike Saney. I don't think it goes far enough. My bill would.
You would be getting more money than if you were working because you'd still have to pay taxes on those. So you can still get the same amount of money, but it was actually incentivizing people to try and cheat the system and stay off of it because they could get basically a raise because they wouldn't have to pay taxes on that money. So it has addressed that, and that's where the change has been made.
Okay. When we talk about increases in funding potentially for K through 12, are we, at least in part, talking about some of those funds to go towards the level of pay for teachers, especially given what we always hear about the competition from the state of Texas?
I think a real will on the part of the legislature to make sure that we are going to fund what we've previously asked of our schools and our new mandates and all those kinds of things. So I'm expecting, Representative McCullough alluded to the fact that there might be a little give and take between the executive branch and the legislature on the issue, but I think in the House side, there is a strong will to really fund our teachers properly, fund our classrooms, make sure that the money is going into classrooms and not just administrative costs. I know there's some concern about that, and then to fund the mandate. So that's still a very fluid thing. I don't have exact numbers right now what that's going to be, but I know that in probably both houses real strong, as you see in our Senator Maisie's handout. There's a real